Hello, and welcome to the Beautiful AI Podcast, brought to you by Perfect Corp, the leading provider of AI and AR solutions in the world of beauty and fashion. This podcast explores the many ways AI innovation is enhancing the lives of consumers and creating a more beautiful world. Join our host, technology thought leader Wayne Liu, as he talks with industry leaders about the AI innovations influencing the world today. If you're interested in learning more about the transformative impact of AI, keep listening.
Hello and welcome to the Beautiful AI Podcast, the show where the beauty meets technology. I am your host, Wang Liu. I'm the president and the chief growth officer at the Perfect Corp. And I'm thrilled to be with you today as we explore how AI is shaping a more beautiful world, one innovation at a time. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, Dr. K. Durairaj. I always call her Dr. K. So we know each other for a while. We've been working with some project, and also she actually invited me to her podcast. That's how inspired me to have this Beautiful AI podcast. Dr. K is a renowned facial plastic surgeon, and then also a true innovator in the world of aesthetic medicine. One thing also special, Dr. K is a Trojan. So we didn't really design by that, but actually the previous episode, we also have a Trojan, Pooja, who is the CEO of 7E Wellness. So it just happened to be lots of children in this field. So today we'll talk about how AI, skin technology, and the simulation revolutionize the skincare, plastic surgery, and then the broader beauty industry. So let's get started. Welcome, Dr. Tay, to this podcast. It's a great to have another Trojan on here. Fight on.
Yay. Fight
Yeah.
on. Thanks, Wayne. It's an honor to be on the Beautiful AI podcast. And I love the whole concept of AI and beauty together.
Yes, fantastic. So I love this energy here. So it's always a special to connect with someone we know each other, and then we share the same spirit. So before we dive into the tech side of today's topic, I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey. So you work in the aesthetic, of course, industry. So can you share with us what leads you to become a facial plastic surgeon and what excites you most about what you do?
Yes, of course. So I am a head and neck surgeon and facial plastic surgeon both. And I grew up in medicine. My mom and dad are doctors, and even my grandmother was a physician too. So I'm third generation woman physician. And I love the anatomy of the head and neck. The reason I got into the face was because this is the best and most detailed anatomy and most interesting. And I love dealing with the patient one on one. When I see my patients, we don't have to undress. I just look them right in the face. So
Hmm. Yeah.
it's very artistic. Your facial identity is so responsible for your confidence and your character and like everyone's first judgment of you. So I enjoy bringing the art with the science together.
Yeah. So great story. You get this your own passion and also this heritage from your family. Thank you for sharing that. So just pivot to a tech side. So technology has played an important role in the shaping of a modern aesthetic, especially on some like a biomedical and some very detailed scientific side. And then for the AI in particular, it's making a new way. I know you've been exposed to lots of this technology in the AI. So from your vantage point as a surgeon and also passionate about technology, how have you seen the AI impact the skincare and the aesthetic treatment in recent years?
Wow, there's just been an explosion of AI trying to cross over into aesthetics and in plastic surgery. And I actually think that in other aspects of medicine, they're way ahead of where we are in plastic surgery and aesthetics because I see AI being used for internal medicine, for
Yeah.
ophthalmology, for definitely radiology, dermatology, like with skin lesions, but not so much for beauty and skin. So, but now I think in the last 1 year, every single meeting I go to, there are at least 10 different people lecturing about AI and skin analysis. And it's really up leveled our field to be able to have a fast analytical tool to objectively look at skin and give us some data. Because most of our studies that we do in the office and in the laboratory, when we do global assessment scales and analysis of people's faces, it's actually quite subjective. Like there's a human being
Mhm.
involved. It's maybe hard for them to be super analytical versus a computer that can be very objective and analytical and screen a face and capture data. So I think it's been an explosion of AI, and it's only the beginning. So it's really quite fascinating.
Yes, yes, totally agree. It's very amazing how quickly AI start with something fun, right? So something fun and people get curious. Right now, it become a game changer in this space. And I believe very soon you will take over some of these tasks. For example, as you mentioned, the analytics side and also the simulation side through this generative AI. So I know you've been exposed to this technology very early, both on the AI skin analysis and also the AI simulation. And then you also include some of this tool into your own practice. So I guess one thing, as we talk to people and then when we get into this conference, one thing people always wonder is, I like AI. I really want to try it, but how can I implement this into our workflow? So I guess our listeners are really eager to hear about your thought. Like, can you walk us through how it works in your practice, how you enhance this patient's experience through this AI tool?
I think it takes a real concerted effort because I see these videos on Instagram and TikTok where people are doing the most incredible things with AI and you want to do it yourself, but you never go home and turn on the app and start
Yeah.
like digging in and inputting data and connecting. So you actually have to make the effort. In our office, we use AI every day, all day long, and it starts with the patient experience. So when the patient comes to the office, we have facial scanning. We use the iPad app, and Perfect Corp has a great one to do like analysis of skin. So not only do we
Thank
take a
you.
before and after picture, but we're right now doing a skin scan and it shows like 14 different measures of what patients can, see that's going on with their skin that they didn't really realize because they're wearing makeup or they're just seeing skin superficially. So I like being able to quantify that. So we're using that to grade their skin and tell them like chronologically you're a bit older than you think you are and your skin is showing some wear and tear, and that helps to upsell skincare products. Patients really then are motivated to work on maybe the brown spots or maybe the
Hmm.
red spots. So I think that's been important for leveraging skincare sales and also just showing them on their next visit that their skin has had a degree of change or improvement because you can easily see that. We also use AI on the marketing side. So for content creation, since social media is important in a lot of aesthetic surgery practices, we make a lot of content every day for Instagram and TikTok. So not only can we come up with a content calendar, like we might say, we just finished, this month is April. It's Rosacea Awareness Month, and it was National Vitamin C Day on Friday. And so, based on those two themes, can you come up with content for 2 weeks of, posting on Instagram and TikTok? And you'll come up with beautiful ideas. It's easier to implement. Sometimes staff or marketing team could have a roadblock and they do it all day, every day. So it's nice sometimes to get some creative, little boost of creative inspiration. We will write blog posts, which is great for trending topics, for keeping our search engine optimization on the website really good. And we try to make sure that we don't plagiarize and use AI just as a complete substitute, but we can
Hmm.
use AI in the writing of things. And then just for fun, simple things like I'm giving a lecture and I got to come up with a jazzy title for my lecture. So I might say, I'm lecturing on collagen biostimulators to a medical audience, but I want it to sound fun and interesting. Can you give me a great title? 10 great titles. And I'm always shocked at how really great those results can be. So AI has been useful for facial analysis. I love it for marketing. We use it in Canva to create content. We're using it with Runway, which is, creating visual images out of text. You can write a paragraph and create a visual image. And then even for sales and marketing plans. So for me, that's been super, super helpful.
Yes, wow. You are not really using AI as a tool. So it become part of your, also the lifestyle, right? So using AI in the
Yes.
all aspect of your practice, of course, using the scientific data analysis, patient, and also you are using AI in the marketing and sometimes using AI
Yeah.
as an assistant. I guess that's really a picture of how transformative this technology can be. It's not really just a focus on one single places as a tool, but it just emerge into all your, yes. So I
Yeah.
guess, yeah,
We
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say we even use it for HR and like if I want to write an employee contract or write an employee manual, Or let's say I'm working with a company and they sent me a 20-page contract and it's just so long. I can upload it to ChatGPT and say, translate this to, 12th grade level and like tell me in simple terms what's on this contract. And it'll just give me like the 10 bullet points. And I never trust it 100%, but it's fairly accurate. So I do think that there are like interesting ways you can use it too on the business end to analyze your payroll, your hours, your HR manual to write up employees, like all kinds of things.
Yes, so it's really about empowering, right? So empower yourself, empower your patient, empower your team, empower your customer. It's a really transformation, for the industry. So let's talk about this AI. So because you are using AI, right? So there must be some changes, right? So in your practice, as you diagnosis and then treat skin concern, can you just give us a like idea for like before using AI and after using AI? Did you change anything on your, say, like a skincare treatment and then also diagnostic compared to the traditional method?
Yeah, well, traditionally we didn't have any diagnostic method. It was me looking at a patient's face. And of course, I've been in practice for 20 years, so I'm a skincare expert and I kind of just machine learned. My brain has machine learned the different features of what I see in skin. And what I do is in our field is very much visual diagnostics. So I think the ability to take that and translate it to like my nurse practitioner, perhaps who's been only in practice for the last 6 years, she has a different level of depth and experience. It's been a really good tool for her. And I use it as a teaching tool for patients to show them the problems of their skin and even to teach our esthetician because sometimes, always there's new staff and people that you want to show and explain things to. So for me, that part has been really transformative because we've never had that in the past. And I like to be objective. So when I can see that, visually pores are changed or visually the brown spots are changed, then I know that one arm of the treatment plan is working. And then we can add a second arm of the treatment plan because I don't really like to flood patients with three or four, like, here's four different bottles of skincare you need to go home with. I prefer to try one and see how it changes the skin and then keep on adding small doses of small things.
Yeah, actually, what you said just hit the multiple points. The first one is actually, I hear this one from Dr. Eunice Park. You know her, right? So what she
Yeah.
said is establish a standard, right? So of course, every like a every doctor, every esthetician, they have their own idea. They do their own learning. But if the patient go to different places, even going to your different location with the same clinic, they may get a different opinion idea. But using AI tool, it's more like a establish a foundation, a standard. So that's why she like it. And then it seems like you also have this same perspective about, it's a more objective. Okay. So that's some of this idea. And then second thing you hit about is really about like, of course, the empowering and also, give the patient more information. So that's why I guess that's pretty much the similar idea, which is what we heard across the board. Also, I guess you give AI a new life, right? So
Mhm.
basically AI is a tool, but it just really depends on how you're going to use it. So that's incredible. And then also, let's talk about on the patient side. So because right now, the AI change how you practice, right? So how you do marketing, how you interact with the customer. Did you noticing any changes from the patient today? Because they are more tech savvy. And then probably all these customer, they are data driven, right? Than ever. They ask lots of questions. They want you to prove it. So how do you think AI, this technology, is influencing customers in the beauty and this aesthetic work? Okay. So do you come up with any new question or demand because of AI from your customer, from your patient?
Well, I think AI is perfect for the modern day patient because our patients are very demanding and they have questions. They need answers at the moment they ask the question. Like they don't want to wait till the next morning. If they have a question in the middle of the night, they are going to find the answer to that. So being able to have like an AI chatbot on the website has been helpful. Also, you can put an AI chatbot in your Instagram. So we've automated some of the replies that people can get. And so everyone loves that instantaneous feedback. It's really interesting to experiment with the idea of an AI receptionist because now there are companies that will help you to craft an AI receptionist and you can write all your own questions. Like in the last 10 years, I know people ask me, these are the subset of questions that people always ask. So I can literally and even duplicate my own voice and reply back all these questions to the patient. So there's some very cool AI that, exactly duplicates your voice. And I have done like 500 podcasts, so it's easy for my voice to be copied at this point. And I can literally type up answers to these questions in my own voice. So it's kind of a little spooky. We prefer to be high touch and like luxury concierge feel, which I think always involves a human as a receptionist and as a first point of contact. High touch these days also means using AI and showing that you are cutting edge and showing that you can leverage technology to make people have a really incredible experience. So
Yes.
it's a combination of high touch, low touch. Yeah.
If you're interested in this conversation and want to learn more about AI solutions for your business, consider booking a demo with Perfect Corp at www.perfectcorp.com/business. Contact us today and see how our selection of AI and AR solutions can take your business to new heights. Now, back to the episode.
Yeah, so actually it's interesting. You raised a very interesting point. It's a little bit spooky. So where AI is raising the bar for everyone, okay, so involved. And then, of course, for the technology like this, we see the advantage, of course. It's always on the other side. So AI will bring some concern and challenge, I think, along the way, just like every other technology. So from your perspective, did you see any challenge or misconception you will encounter that you think we should address here?
Well, I think AI is being trained by software engineers that are mainly men and that have a certain perception of what is beautiful. And, I know that there have been studies done that show that maybe AI neglects looking at certain racial features or neglecting African American women or kind of grouping women into this kind of sexy umbrella, like the images of what is beauty are a little bit hypersexualized. So I think getting more female software engineers to kind of give the female gaze as to what is beauty will be super important and interesting to do. And then I think like things that Perfect Corp is doing where we're scanning skin shades of so many, like 60, 70, 90,000 different types of skin colors that are out there. Like that is the incredible power of what AI is going to be able to do for us. So I think that we just have to be aware of the bias and the bias of the programmers and then to even just like take steps to negate that bias or add a little bit more in terms of like, um, I think more women involvement in programming the AI is going to be a huge important thing too.
Yes, yes, of course. So we'll talk about this topic like a woman in technology and woman programmer. But from just what you said, I guess we probably need to have a more like a balanced view because AI is being trained, right? So
Yeah.
whatever we train this AI, they act like what we train them. So that's why I guess
Yeah.
we need to balance, and that is very important with what we train to the AI. So it seems like it's very clear AI opening the door, but there's a lot of uncertainty when we navigate into this door. So let's go back to a little bit on the patient, right? So you just said, of course, we raised some of the challenges and misconception of the AI. So does that change the conversation in your practice with your customer? So if you're using AI, would they show concern or would they have
Mhm.
a more excitement, like engagement?
Oh my gosh, they love it. They love the idea of it. It makes them really feel like their surgeon, myself, is very cutting edge, and I think they almost want it. Like, I would say they would feel disappointed if I did just kind of a routine, here's my clipboard and I'm writing with the pen, and, like, people these days expect to see some innovation in their treatment and their care plan, and it really wows them. So we have the ability I also have been playing with this technology that's like a video recording of myself that can go on a screen in all the exam rooms, and then patients can verbally interact with that screen and ask a question, and then I can talk back as my own AI avatar version of myself. I think that's very cool. But again, it's that fine line between like, it's cool, but is it a little weird to be talking to a screen? And I'd rather talk to a human doctor. So, but just having that there is fun technology for people to play with. And like you have to bring the wow factor in aesthetics and in plastic surgery. And I would say in all of industry, like if you don't show that you are constantly evolving and growing and bringing new technology into your office, then you're just stagnant. So for me, it's really fun and important to be like a first adopter of the technology.
Yeah, that's a beautiful to say, right? So just fun. And then also you're empowering your patient. And that's
Yes.
really at the heart of this revolution. Yeah, talk
Yeah.
about your social media, which is amazing. Beauty by Dr. K. Okay, so you do multi-channel, you do Instagram, and I follow you. Love all this great video, and you have a little bit longer version on the YouTube, and then of course, you do Instagram, and then you being on the many event, right? So it can be very academic or some of these. So tell us about your idea and how do you, as a surgeon, right? So medical doctor, people always say, oh, medical doctor, you should be more like a serious or something. So how do you feel like you combine this academia education with this fun factor, put into the Instagram and all these cool short video, the read and everything, because a majority of the audience actually is a professional. Yeah, MD, plastic surgeon. So that's why they probably want to learn a little bit about it. Give us some advice, how you started, how can you get so success on this social channel?
Well, I think social media has been so transformative to what I do, and I am a very serious surgeon and physician. I was chairman of my department of head and neck surgery in our hospital for many years, and like I'm very by the book. But on the other hand, I joined social media first because my kids were joining. They were like, "Oh, mom, can we get an Instagram account?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm getting one too, and then I'm going to keep an eye on what you and your friends are doing." And the more I posted information and content about what I was doing in a day in my office, the more all of the moms at school and the friends and patients, everybody would be so interested. So it's kind of opened the doors to what used to be a very like private and elite situation of being in plastic, what goes on in plastic surgery offices every day. So I use the power of social media for edutainment. I call it edutainment.
Hmm.
So it's education and entertainment. It's edutainment. And everyone, I think, can feel when they're watching a video what the person's personality is like. You can tell if someone feels very genuine, very warm. And so that's been such a plus because I have people who follow me on Instagram and they say they feel very connected to me. They watch my videos for up to 1 or 2 years before they'll actually book an appointment. They'll say when they come in, I've been following you for the last couple of years and I finally decided to come in. And it just takes that repeat exposure to understanding that you feel comfortable and safe with a person and that you see their visible results. You're seeing them working on actual real people that are, just like yourself. So it takes down all the barriers to entry and it makes for a really comfortable experience where they feel like they've already been in my office and they know what we're like. And then I take them sometimes to the operating room. Sometimes we'll follow the patient journey from beginning to end of their results. And sometimes we'll have like, super fun like movie stars. And so all of that leads to a really great branding for our practice and for myself. So I think social media is pretty indispensable these days.
Yeah, so love that vision. You can be very serious, especially on the medical side. This is a hard sign, right? So everything you can be serious. However, when you need to connect with your customer, you need to resonate, right? So you need to use the way which they know. So that's how you
Right.
connect it. So you become a translator or interpreter, right? How translates a hard science into something people which can accept, can understand. So then again, that's about empower. So that's why you said it's you combine this education and entertainment together. So really,
Yeah.
you love that vision. So it's great. Okay, so since we are talking about AI, since you are really in the front runner, you are the front runner of this AI, especially in your industry. So think about this. If you have a crystal ball, tell us what you see in the next. I would like to like a 5, 10 years, but 5, 10 years for AI is like a forever. Probably just to give us some, we don't need to have a timeline. Just what do you think about AI is going to taking this aesthetic medicine in the next phases? Any
Yeah.
excitement prediction from you?
I am so excited about what AI can potentially do. I envision a world where you can come into my office. I'm going to do a full detailed face scan. We're going to get 3D analysis of the face. And I'm going to be able to see from maybe you'll bring me a picture of you when you were 30 years old. And then the computer and AI will be able to analyze the volumes and, fat pad areas and muscle tightness and skin. And like, I'll be able to look at your 30-year-old picture and detect where you've had problems and changes on your 3D AI scan. And then be able to really precisely recommend product placement, whether it's filler, Botox, or skincare, to kind of like tackle those issues. So it'll be very much like Star Trek. That's what I
Yeah,
envision. We'll
that's
have a full face scan I'll have a diagnostic. It'll show me the underground architecture and anatomy. I can't wait till that day when we can see anatomy superimposed on the visuals. And that will be incredible. And then I'll be able to use that at each visit to say, like, okay, your volume in your cheek has changed. You're kind of drooping. Let's add volume. That's my dream.
Okay, so let's see. Probably we'll check our chief architect to see if he can turn the dream into a reality.
Right? With the aesthetic
That's
simulation with him, it's coming.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
yes,
that AI changes so fast. Like literally, you said 5 or 10 years, but literally, it's only going to be in 1 year that things are going to be dramatically different, right?
yes. That's great. So, every time I always ask this question to my guests, and it happened to be so far, my guest on the podcast is so female, very successful female. As I say, we didn't really by design, but it just happened, okay? Because in this field, we get lots of very successful, the female, of course, in all the aspect of beauty and the skincare. So I always like to ask this question. Okay. So I know you are very successful plastic surgeon. You are a very successful educator. And also, you did well on the business side. So we'll probably say it's a very successful entrepreneur. And also, most important one, you are a very successful mom. I
Yes,
know
thank
you're,
you.
yeah. So that's why. And also, you are a very successful Trojan. So let's do that. So give us, especially, you talk about female engineer, female software developer. So why don't you just give advice to all these, probably give us our audience and also some of these female, some of them are still student or like in the early stage of their career. Just give advice about how should they navigate into their career, and then what kind of attitude when they facing through all this probably female as a minority in this like a tech world. Just give us some advice from your experience.
I think women tend to be their own worst enemy and they tend to hold themselves back. And one advice that I tell my kids, I have 3 daughters and 1 son, and I always find that my daughters really hyper analyze and are critical of their own skill set, whereas they need to, instead of holding themselves back, because perhaps maybe they don't have all the criteria for a particular job listing, but they have the intelligence, they have the resourcefulness, they have the creativity. So I want women out there to remind themselves of their own personal assets, because once you have that baseline of that, level of resourcefulness, intelligence, creativity, you can go into any field. And it honestly just takes hard work, and the sweat and tears and hours that you put into the job are going to determine your success so much more than like what degree you had or what classes you took or how many hours of like job experience you have in this. So I want to encourage all the women out there to just put your foot in the door, just network and ask people to help you. In my career, that's been huge, that I've sometimes gone up to people that I really hardly know and told them how much I respect them. And I really want to ask them for some help to get started in this industry. And can they point me in the right direction? And people are generally very kind. They will go out of their way to tell you about, well, let me connect you with a friend who could really help you, or let me involve you on a paper I'm writing. And so I think if you ask, those are the biggest things. You've got to ask. If you want a seat at the table, you have to show up to the table. And that means raising your hand and volunteering for positions and leadership roles and like things that you maybe are a little uncomfortable for you.
Hmm.
You have to stretch.
Yes,
So,
no doubt about it. So you need to feel comfortable about the uncomfortable. That's what people say. And then
yeah.
also, Dr. K, so you are the great connector. You connect people, right? So, when we
Yes.
meet and then we connect people, and then you're more like a magnet, you attract people and then you start connect them. So thank you for your advice to our audience. And then also thank you so much for joining us today on this beautiful AI podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you and hear how you are shaping this future. Not necessarily just limit to skincare and aesthetic medicine, but with all the aspect of this practice and your philosophy about life and career. Thank you so much. I guess fight on and then best luck for everyone ahead.
Thank you, Wayne. Fight on.
And then to our listener, thank you for tuning in the Beautiful AI podcast. So if you enjoy this conversation, I believe you will. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get into the podcast so you don't miss this the next episode of this AI podcast. And then also please follow Dr. K and also follow me on LinkedIn and then tune to the Beauty by Dr. K. So you get lots of great content on that. And then, let's absolutely share so much valuable knowledge together. Until next time, stay curious, stay beautiful, and keep embracing the power of AI. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Bye, Dr. K.
Bye. Mwah. Thank you. That was wonderful.
We hope you enjoyed listening to the Beautiful AI podcast. To continue exploring the world of beautiful AI and technology innovation, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to join us for our next episode.